So for the past year or so, I've been struggling quite a lot with like falling asleep when I go to bed, right? I've been laying in bed for like half an hour or an hour occasionally, and just overthink stuff, not even like being able to unwind my body, my mental processes, all of that stuff, right? And a lot of the times, I lay in bed and I get the urge to go pee, right? For example, I could lay in my bed for like an hour, overthinking stuff, trying to fall asleep, and then as I was unwinding, my body was finally turning itself off, and I was about to fall asleep. I got the urge to go and pee, right? And it's mostly gonna be the right choice to go pee when you get the urge, right? So that's what I did. I went up and peed, and I came back, right? And I kind of had to restart the whole unwinding process, which is annoying, right? So one thing that I utilize a lot to just get rid of the urge to go and pee when you are fucking trying to fall asleep at night is to have a pinch of fling salt just before you go to bed. Just before you go to bed, right? So you grab. So I have a fucking, what's it called, like a jar of fling salt like in my house, right? And I grab a pinch and I just fucking eat it like that. It seems kind of weird, but the main thesis behind it, the main premise is that salt actually helps the body retain water, because the human body is mostly composed of water overall, right? We're like 70% water or some shit, and the water is actually stored in your muscle. So what salt helps you to do is that it helps the muscles to retain the water, right? So it's been an absolute game changer for me, right? It also helps just throughout the night, like not having to go up and pee, and like and being awakened by some fucking piss urge, right, in the middle of the night, right? So it helps with that as well. So from now on, if you aren't a little bitch and is afraid of a fucking a pinch of fling salt, then I would recommend you and you're having the problems that I described earlier with fucking having to pee at nighttime, right? You grab a pinch of fling salt and literally fuck man, I can't even speak today. So you grab a pinch of fling salt and you literally just eat it like it is, right? It doesn't get more simpler than that, right? So that's the first one, and the second one is a pretty generic and basic one, but it's a very effective, right? And it is reading before bed, right? So reading is a relatively mentally fatiguing task to presume, right? Fuck man, these fucking voice cracks, but who cares, right? So it's a relatively mentally fatiguing task and activity, because it's not just like consuming something else, like, because you're consuming something when you're reading a book, right? But it's not like you're consuming a fucking video, because video consumption doesn't require anywhere near as much actual brain cognition and function as reading does. And what happens is that your whole body just gets more mentally tired overall, and your eyes get heavier, right, as you read, because you actually have to concentrate. So reading is a fucking game changer. You could do it either in bed or on the fucking desk, right? What I do personally is that I don't really want to be laying in bed when I don't have to, right? Because I have this kind of principle with myself that I don't really touch my bed unless I'm trying to fall asleep, because I like to allocate certain environments to certain activities, right? So I'm not gonna be fucking laying in my bed for some bullshit for some bullshit ass reason in the day, right? Because I don't like the lazy kind of vibe that being in your bed like fucking gives you, right? But if you don't have that problem, then you can read in bed, right? But I prefer to read on my desk, and what I do is that I get a light, a lamp, right, and I put it next to myself, next to my book on the fucking desk, right? And what happens is that so the human body has not really changed that much in the last like 40,000 years, and like since the fucking caveman times, right? And what you can do with having a lamp standing beside you on the desk is that you are simulating a sunset. So because it is an eye level, right? For example, you don't really want to be having like a fucking ceiling light in when you're trying, like before you're trying to fall asleep, right? It kind of resembles the sun, and you kind of telling your body overall that the sun is still up, right? And it kind of fucks up your whole mental system, because sunlight is just so fucking, it's been so crucial for the human species, right? Because there was nothing else that would tell us if it was time to be awake or to fall asleep, right? So you want to be utilizing that if you can, right? So I just place a lamp next to me at eye level, and it resembles the sun setting over the horizon, right? And it triggers the fucking, that was a weak ass snap, bro. It triggers the process of unwinding and falling asleep inside your body, right? So that's what I do. Now, when it comes to what you're reading, it doesn't really matter too much, because you're still getting the mental fatiguing part, like you're still getting that effect, right? So if you, for example, you don't necessarily want to be reading stuff that mentally triggers you, that or a better word would be emotionally trigger you, like some fucking newspaper or some shit with some fucking gay ass politics or some bullshit, right? No, fuck that shit. So what I read is just I grab, so people call it fantasy books, right? And I grab one of those that I like. They're called Warriors. And what happens when you read so-called fantasy books is that when you are trying to fall asleep, you're not falling into the negative spiral of overthinking like business stuff or some fucking bullshit in high school or some stuff, right? Because that shit's keeping you from falling asleep, right? So I read book series that people classify as fantasy books, right? They're called Warriors. I said, and they work perfectly fine for me. I can just delve into the warrior world mentally when I'm in bed trying to fall asleep, instead of having to overthink the business stuff, right? So you could also read normal self-improvement books like fucking David Goggins books, or Russell Brunson's books, or Alex Hormozy, or Atomic Habits, or Robert Greene's books, The 40 Laws of Power, and those like fucking Laws of Human Nature. All of those work. Fuck, man. These voice cracks, but yeah, what the fuck am I gonna do, right? So, like, I don't give a shit, right? So normal self-improvement books, they work. That's basically it, man. Reading is, yeah, man. So yeah, that's about it, to be honest. One thing though is that around the 30 to 60 minutes, or preferably even fucking earlier than that, before you're trying to fall asleep, you go into your room and you open the windows, just, and let the cooler air flow into the fucking room, right? Because of course you know that colder temperatures are optimal for like falling asleep, right? And you probably experienced like some, for example, myself, I was in Spain like a couple of years ago, and it was so fucking hot, bro. There was no fucking chance of me falling asleep under that fucking beaming hot fucking temperature, man. So nah, man, fuck heat when you're trying to fall asleep, man. Fuck that shit. It's so fucking annoying, man. So I would recommend that as well. You open the window, you get some fresh air into the room overall. So that's basically it. That's basically what I do, right? So that's it, man. See you in the next one.